about acidity in alcohols. Then, in that we discussed that the acidic character of alcohol is mainly due to the polar nature of the OH bond. Then after that we discussed about the same acidity in phenols also, and the resonance structures also we discussed. After that we did about like alcohols and phenols, alcohols versus phenols, that is due to the high electronegativity of sp2 hybridized carbon, uh, or electron density decreases on oxygen, so basically that increases the polarity, and the ionization in phenols that of alcohols. So that's basically the differentiation of alcohols and phenols we discussed. And after that we went on discussing about the phenol-oxide ion, why phenol-oxide ion is more stable than phenol. Then yes ma'am, that's it.
Okay, that means we were discussing basically the acidic chemical reaction involving cleavage of oxygen hydrogen bonds in phenols and alcohol, and we compare the acidity of alcohols and phenol, and in alcohols also we compare primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol, the acidity of primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol, and then we compare the acidity of alcohols and phenol, and we found that phenols are more acidic than alcohol, and there are basically two different reasons. First reason, difference in the hybridization. sp2 hybridization is there for the carbon in phenol, and for alcohol it is sp3 hybridization. And the second point was, as you can see in the diagram, like we discussed about the resonance stabilization of the phenol and phenoxide ion. And we found that phenoxide ion is more resonance stabilized because it is like dispersion of the negative charge. Here this negative charge is dispersed throughout the structure, but when you look into the resonating structures of phenol, there is a charge separation of positive and negative. That is what happening during the resonance structures or during the resonance. So these kind of charge separation found mean that kind of resonating structures will be comparatively less stable. And phenoxide ion, it's only one negative charge, and that negative charge is dissipated throughout the ring. So that means it is kind of stabilization. So here this is instability because of positive and negative charge separation, and in other case it is a stabilization. So this is more stable. So phenoxide ions are more stable, mean phenol will decompose to form phenoxide ion and H plus. That means it is acidic, comparatively more acidic than alcohol. That's it. Okay, so that was the first chemical property that we discussed. Next one is esterification. What is an ester? What is an ester? Last class also we discussed what is an ester.
Ma'am, it's a carbonyl compound.
Yeah, ester is a carbonyl compound, and more of a, you can see when you have a carboxylic acid or its derivative when reacts with alcohol, what you get is esterification. That means during esterification reaction, a carboxylic acid or its derivatives and an alcohol will combine, and what you get is an ester. Ester, see, carboxylic acid means this is the formula, C double bond O OH, which we use to write as COH. That is the functional group of carboxylic acid. Alcohol functional group is OH. So when these two functional group combine, what you get is C double bond O. Then you have two alkyl groups on the either side. So this is the ester functional group because carboxylic acid and an alcohol is combined and you get a new carbonyl group which is called ester or ester functional group, which is C double bond O group. And here you will have two alkyl groups on these both the side. That's what an ester group is. So basically what you need to prepare an ester is either carboxylic acid or its derivative. Now when we talk about a derivative, what do you mean by a derivative? What do you mean by a derivative? What is the meaning, like carboxylic acid derivative? Derivative means something derived from carboxylic acid. So example, basically if I'll take a symbol acetic acid, CH3COH or ethanoic acid, that is its IUPAC name. This acetic acid or ethanoic acid can be converted to its acid chloride. When it's treated with chlorine, you can see you will get CH3COCl. So this is acid chloride. That means a chloride of acid. So this is derived from an acid. If you want to prepare an acid chloride, it is prepared from or started from a carboxylic acid. So this is known as a acid derivative. So acid derivative mean a compound which is derived from a carboxylic acid. So that's why we said for an esterification, you either need a carboxylic acid or any other compound which is derived from a carboxylic acid. So usually we can prepare, or the carboxylic acid derivative means acid chloride and acid anhydrides. What do you mean by an acid anhydride? Anybody know? What is acid anhydride? What is anhydride generally? Just leave the part acid. What is anhydride? Boys, are you there?
Does it mean there's no OH group?
Yeah, anhydride mean, or it's like after removing something which is without the water or after the removal of H2O. That is what an anhydride mean, right? So acid anhydride mean when we know that two molecules of carboxylic acids are there, it can eliminate on heating. If you heat two molecules of carboxylic acid together, it can eliminate one molecule of H2O so that it will combine like this: CH3, C double bond O, another molecule CH3, C double bond O. And we know that overall H2O molecule, OH and H is removed. So what is left is like an oxygen that is connecting the two units. So this kind of compounds are known as acid anhydrides. Again, this is derived from a carboxylic acid. So carboxylic acid derivatives mean a compound which is formed from a carboxylic acid or derived from a carboxylic acid, and basically carboxylic acid derivative mean acid chlorides and acid anhydrides. Acid chloride is nothing but a carboxylic acid is treated with a chloride so that you will get CH3COCl. OH is replaced with Cl group. That is what acid chloride. Acid anhydride mean when carboxylic acids are heated, a molecule of water will be eliminated and two molecules combines together. This is known as the acid anhydride. Any acid, you can get the same kind of compound. So that's what esterification, you have to either use a carboxylic acid or any of its derivative plus alcohol or phenol, any of them will be can be used for esterification. So basically it's a combination of, or it's a condensation reaction actually, a condensation reaction where a carboxylic acid or its derivative reacts with alcohol or phenol. So am I clear with these terms?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
So now let's look into the esterification reaction. Alcohols and phenol reacts with carboxylic acid, acid chlorides or acid anhydrides to form ester. So that's what you can see, esterification. So basically what is happening if you take ROH as alcohol and R dash COH as carboxylic acid, you can see H and OH will be going, and what you get is usually we start from a carboxylic group, R dash C double bond O O R. Always while writing the formula, we should start from carboxylic acid end. Then alcohol part will be written. So whether it's a carboxylic acid or this is acid anhydride. I have shown you that formula, how acid anhydrides are there. So let it be any compound, whether acid, carboxylic acid directly, or an acid anhydride, or a acid chloride, you will get esters in all these cases. Whether it's a alcohol or phenol, still you will get the esters. So here they have written AR/R. That is because it could be an alcohol or phenol. So it's just like they have shown a general reaction. And in this topic, usually they ask about the preparation of aspirin. This is one of a very, very important question, which is used to be asked like in 1 mark question or part of 5 mark question like that. Preparation of aspirin, that is acetyl salicylic acid. What is the use of aspirin? What is aspirin? Have you heard of?
It's like a medicine.
Yeah, it's a medicine used for?
I'm reviving people.
So aspirin is one of the commonly used medicine, and that's why this is so important that this is prepared using an esterification technique. For that, you have to use a salicylic acid. Salicylic acid is a carboxylic acid and alcohol group together in a benzene ring. You can see a COH group and OH together in a benzene. That is what is salicylic acid. When you do the esterification of salicylic acid, and you will get acetyl salicylic acid, that is what aspirin. So that is why this particular reaction is very important, because it's a commercially important and also medically, like medicinal value, like is there for this particular compound, as it's part of many what you can say, it's like you used to take it when you have a pain or something like that, aspirin.
No, it's a painkiller.
Yeah. It's not like a painkiller like that you take it when you do a surgery or something, but other than that, a normal kind of thing when you are tired and when you feel like your body is aching like that. No, at that time we take aspirin. So please note that this is very, very important.
Ma'am?
Yes.
Ma'am, in the general reactions for esterification, the ester, it's showing as OCOR dash.
See, that is because I've told you, they want to show it AR and R together. So if it is confusing, just write only R with R or AR. And the more easiest or the convenient way is like always start writing from the carboxylic acid side. So example, if I want to write the first equation, I'll just write ROH plus R dash COOH. So what you have to do is like esterification. You have to remove a molecule of water from carboxylic acid and alcohol. Okay. So let's say here OH is removed and here H is removed. So what is left? You have R dash, then you have CO, then you have O, then R, right? This is what a carboxylic acid ester is. C double bond O group.
So we can write it as COOR.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to write. Here they have written like that because they want to show the bonding is through oxygen. That's what. Say example, it should be drawn like this. One side it is carbon bonded, alkyl group is bonded to carbon, and other side alkyl group is bonded to oxygen. To show that bonding only they have written like this. This CO is because you have to show better, it's shown like this so that it's very clear that C is double bonded with carbon, oxygen. It's actually, this is how we represent. The same thing is written like this. OCO, which actually C double bond OO, like that.
Okay, ma'am.
So if you have any confusion, just write like this. This is the esterification. I mean the ester functional group C double bond O, O. C double bond O, carbonyl, and there is additional oxygen also. So one part is from carboxylic acid and other part is from alcohol. That is why when these two kind of compounds combines, you get a ester. This is very important reaction I'm repeating. Please make sure that you write it down. Okay. See, can we move to next one? These two are basically the reactions where oxygen-hydrogen bonds are removed. That is acidity of alcohol, and we discuss about the esterification also. Now we are moving to the second type of chemical reactions involving cleavage of carbon-oxygen bond. So in all these examples, we discuss this oxygen-hydrogen bond was breaking down. That is due to the acidity, right? And the next type of reaction is reactions involving cleavage of CO bond in alcohol. This is the second type of reaction. And the first one which we are discussing under this category is reactions with hydrogen halide. Reactions with hydrogen halide mean alcohols react with hydrogen halide to form alkyl halide. So you can see the OH group in alcohol is replaced with the halogen, and what you get is alkyl halide. The reverse reaction we have discussed in previous chapter. Alkyl halide on nucleophilic substitution, right? You get a alcohol. You can get it. The reverse reaction we discussed in the preparation and all. So that's what all these reactions are related to each other. So an alcohol can be converted to an alkyl halide if you treat it with hydrogen halide. The importance of this reaction is that this particular reaction is modified and used as a Lucas test, okay, with a reagent called concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. So here this is HX can be HCl, it can be HBr, or it can be HI based on what kind of alkyl halide you need. Whether you need a chloride or bromide or iodide, based on that you can take any hydrogen halide. But there is a particular test called Lucas test. And what is the importance of this test is that if you have an unknown compound, okay, a compound is given and you know that it's an alcohol, that alcohol can be primary, secondary or tertiary alcohol. If a compound is given and you want to find out what kind of alcohol it is, whether it's a primary, secondary or tertiary, you can do a Lucas test. Or you're given a 3 sample and you know that one of them is primary, other one is secondary and tertiary, but you can't identify it. Then you can perform Lucas test to distinguish between primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol. And here the reagent, the Lucas test, the reagent used is concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. And what is the problem is that when an alcohol reacts with a hydrogen halide or HCl particularly, it produces alkyl halides, right? So we know that alcohols are mostly highly soluble. They got high solubility, but alkyl halides are less soluble. So what happened when the reaction happened, when the products are formed, which is alkyl halide, which is less soluble, mean it's seen as turbidity in a solution. That means you will not get a clear solution. You will get a turbid solution. This indicates that the reaction has happened and you got a product. But how this test can be used to differentiate primary, secondary, tertiary is that Tertiary alcohols are highly reactive. So they immediately produce turbidity when you treat it with Lucas reagent, concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. So when you mix it with alcohol, tertiary alcohol, on immediately on adding this Lucas reagent, you will get turbidity. Turbidity is produced immediately as they form halides easily. That is in case of tertiary alcohol. Primary alcohol cannot produce turbidity at room temperature. For that you have to heat it. And what about secondary? It will produce turbidity, but after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that. So this is a very, very important thing in organic. There will be one question for sure asking different test for distinguishing different organic compound. And one among them is differentiating primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol. So if a samples are given and you want to identify whether it's a primary, secondary or tertiary, you can do a Lucas test. Lucas test mean it's a reagent test using the reagent concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. So it's basically the reaction happens here is an alcohol when treated with hydrogen halide, that is HCl. When we use HCl, its corresponding alkyl halides are produced. So alcohols are highly soluble. So you are, yes, at the beginning you are getting a very clear solution. But at the end, when HCl is reacted with an alcohol, you're getting an alkyl halide and they are got less solubility, and that can be seen as a turbidity formation. So in the case of primary, secondary and tertiary is highly reactive and immediately you're getting the product. So immediate turbidity formation. And primary will not form turbidity at room temperature and secondary will give you a turbidity after some time. This is very, very important test to distinguish primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol. Am I clear?
Ma'am, can you tell again what secondary does?
Secondary turbidity will be formed, but after some time. Like say example, after 5 minutes, 10 minutes, like that. After some time you will get, not immediately on adding the reagent. And for primary, you won't get it until you heat it. On after heating only you will get that turbidity formation, because at room temperature, this reaction will not be happening. That is the formation of alkyl halide.
Okay, ma'am.
Right? So this is the first reaction. Here in this reaction, the alcohol, OH and carbon bond is breaking. So this OH group is going and you are adding the halogen in this case. X minus, the halide ions are bonded with carbon. So these are the second type of chemical reactions where carbon OH bond or carbon oxygen bond is breaking down in alcohol. And the first reaction what we discuss is reaction with hydrogen halide. Actually, the application of this reaction is to distinguish primary, secondary and tertiary. And this test was named as Lucas test. And the reagent is concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. So if there is a question how you can differentiate primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol, first you should write the name of the test, Lucas test. Then you need to specify what is the reagent, concentrated HCl and zinc chloride. Then you have to write what you have to do. You will mix it with alcohol and you have to also specify for each of them what is the observation expected. So for primary, no turbidity at room temperature. For secondary, turbidity after some time. For tertiary, immediate turbidity formation because alkyl halides are formed immediately, very easily. Like that you have to write. Then only you will get 2 marks. If it comes as a 2-mark question, usually it comes like that. You have to write the name of the test, what are the reagents and what is the expected observation. Because a test mean there will be a visible change that should be based on that you should be able to differentiate the compound. So Lucas test is one of an important test to differentiate primary, secondary and tertiary alcohol. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was the first reaction with hydrogen halide. Second reaction with phosphorus trihalide. Again, the same kind of compound only you will get. If you take PCl3, PCl5 and all, ROH will convert it to RCl. So same kind of things. I'm not explaining that much. And the same reaction you can see in the previous chapter also. So just a repetition. And the next important one is dehydration. What do you mean by dehydration? Dehydration.
Ma'am, removal of H2O.
Removal of H2O molecule. So anything dehydration, dehalogenation mean that compound or something is removed from the compound. So dehydration mean water molecule is removed. And we know that in an alcohol, you have OH and hydrogen. So it is at the adjacent position. It can remove an OH and hydrogen and you get an alkene. It's actually a reverse reaction of hydration of an alkene, right? This reaction we are discussed. When you add H2O, you will get an alcohol. So actually this is dehydration is a opposite or the backward reaction of an hydration of an alkene. So reverse reaction is happening. If you remove a molecule of water from an alcohol, what you get is an alkene, and you can use concentrated acid and followed by heating concentrated sulfuric acid or phosphoric acid, like that you can use for dehydration, or you can use anhydrous zinc chloride or alumina as catalyst. So that is the dehydration. And here the dehydration of ethanol molecule is one of the important mechanism, because there are only 3 or 4 mechanisms that you need in all organic from all the organic chapters, and this is one of an important mechanism that you have to study. How the dehydration reaction happens, you can just learn for ethanol molecule. So only one particular mechanism under dehydration. So can we move to the mechanism part?
Yes.
So let's see what is happening. See, the relative ease of dehydration is that tertiary alcohol, this is the order, tertiary will be undergoing with a faster what you can say rate for dehydration, then comes secondary, and primary requires more severe condition or a what you can say more stronger condition to do the dehydration. That's what you can see in the last point in this slide. Ethanol undergo dehydration with concentrated sulfuric acid and also heating 443 Kelvin. It's a comparatively high temperature. Then secondary and tertiary alcohols need a milder condition, not like very concentrated or high temperature like this. So the rate or the order of the reaction, tertiary, then comes secondary, and finally the primary one. So primary is very difficult for dehydration. So you need a stronger acid and high temperature for the dehydration reaction to happen. Moving into the mechanism part. Mechanism is actually a 3-step mechanism. First step is protonation, then formation of carbocation, and third step is formation of the ethene molecule finally. So as I said earlier, you can just focus on one type of molecule, that is ethanol, taking the ethanol an example, and study only the mechanism for alcohol like ethanol molecule. So this is what technically happens in 3 steps. The previous diagram is not clear, so I'm just showing in this way. As you can see here, the first step is protonation. What do you mean by protonation? A proton is added to the oxygen molecule, because in an alcohol, you have oxygen with a lone pair of electron. These lone pair of electron can attract an H plus because they are electrons. A free electron is there. So that lone pair of electron can attract an H plus. So that H will be added, which produces a positive charge on the oxygen atom. So this step is known as protonation. That means a proton is added to your alcohol molecule. So it was CH3, CH2OH ethanol. Now it is CH3, CH2, OH2 plus, because oxygen now has formed 3 bonds. Maximum, usually oxygen makes 2 bonds, right? But in this example, after adding an H plus ion, the proton, it has made 3 bonds. That means it's an unstable state. That is why a positive charge is formed on the oxygen atom. So that is the first step, protonation. In the second step, it is the formation of carbocation. So we know that this oxygen with 3 bonds and a positive charge is unstable. It cannot stay there like that with a charge on oxygen, a positive charge on oxygen. So immediately this bond will be breaking, so that it forms H2O molecule separately, and there is a formation of positive charge on the carbon. That is why it is second step is known as formation of carbocation. A carbocation is formed by the removal of H2O molecule. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
And in the last and the final step, again, we know that carbocations are not stable. It cannot be there for a long period of time because it contains a positive charge on the carbon and it's unstable. So the rearrangement happens is that the hydrogen from the next carbon will be moved out, and it gives its lone pair of bond pairs of electron to the form a double bond, and H plus is removed. That means here H plus is added and here that same H plus is being removed. Mean the role of H plus ion in this mechanism is act as a catalyst. H plus mean acid. You can use concentrated sulfuric acid or phosphoric acid, etc. Any strong acids. So their role is like they catalyzes the reaction even though it does not directly take part. Like mean it's not involved in a chemical reaction, but it catalyzes the reaction. So the role of acid is to catalyze, because when you add H plus, it initiated the reaction, and after the final step, that same H plus has been retrieved. So this is how the mechanism happens. I'll just explain it one more time. Please pay attention as it's very important. First step is protonation. Protonation means adding proton to an alcohol molecule. And this happens because in oxygen, there is a lone pair of electron which can attract a positive proton. So after a proton is added to the oxygen, there will be a positive charge on the oxygen atom because it is now with the 3 bonds and it is highly unstable. So immediately the bond will be breaking down between the carbon and oxygen, and H2O molecule will be removed. And this lead to the formation of a carbocation. That is the second step, formation of carbocation. And in the last and the final step, the carbocation will undergo rearrangement so that a double bond is formed between the carbon and this hydrogen is removed as H plus ion. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's what the dehydration reaction. And in dehydration, tertiary is highly reactive. You can do a dehydration of tertiary alcohol with a milder condition, but for primary, you have to use a very strong acid and also high temperature. Next reaction is oxidation. So oxidation, it can be either the addition of oxygen or a removal of hydrogen. Both can be considered as an oxidation reaction. So this is the route always you need to understand. primary alcohols on oxidation gives you aldehyde, and aldehydes on oxidations give you carboxylic acid. This is the very, very important route. In the next chapter also you will see the reverse one. So if you have a primary alcohol, okay, and when you oxidize this primary alcohol, you will get an aldehyde. And if you strongly use a strong oxidizing agent, the formed aldehyde will immediately undergo further oxidation, and what you get is a carboxylic acid. And the strong oxidizing agent what you can use is acidified potassium permanganate or at acidified potassium dichromate. So again, like I've told you about the reducing agent, the important or the strong oxidizing agent we use in organic reactions is this one, KMnO4 and potassium dichromate. Both are good oxidizing agents. Other than KMnO4 and potassium dichromate, you can also use PCC, that is pyridinium chlorochromate. So here you need to be familiarized with different kind of reagent and what is its use. Rather than by hearting the separate or the individual example, generally learn what is the rule. If you have a primary alcohol, you can convert a primary alcohol to an aldehyde, and aldehyde will be converted to carboxylic acid. So the problem of this reaction is that if you use a KMnO4 or a potassium dichromate, primary alcohol will be converted to carboxylic acid because the aldehyde formed will be further oxidized, because these two are a strong oxidizing agent. So if you want to prepare an aldehyde, you just need an aldehyde. You don't want the aldehyde to be converted to carboxylic acid. Then you have to use a specific oxidizing agent which is not very strong, so that the product will not be converted. That is why we use PCC. So in this example, you can see it's a primary alcohol converted to an aldehyde. The aldehyde is not converted to carboxylic acid because PCC is not a strong oxidizing agent. So KMnO4 and potassium dichromate both are strong oxidizing agents, so that aldehydes formed will be converted to carboxylic acid immediately. So you won't be able to separate the aldehydes from the product because aldehydes won't stay there under the presence of strong oxidizing agent. These aldehydes will be converted to carboxylic acid. But
I guess it's break now.
yeah, I'm just winding it up here. But PCC, that is pyridinium chlorochromate, if you use them, then alcohol, primary alcohol will be converted to an aldehyde and it won't undergo further oxidation. So write the root rather than writing the equation. This is the root of the reaction. Primary alcohol to aldehyde, aldehyde to carboxylic acid. If you use strong oxidizing agent, directly you will get carboxylic acid, because aldehydes won't be staying as a main product, because aldehydes will be converted to carboxylic acid. So if you need to produce a carboxylic acid, use strong acids. But if you need to produce an aldehyde from an alcohol, then use a mild oxidizing agents like PCC. So we shall continue the oxidation in the next class also. That's the last day. I guess I want to finish at least the chemical reactions of an alcohols and phenol. Then ethers will do it after the summer break. Okay.
All right, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.